I want us to go past like just complaining about the next generation, how they wear their clothes, how they talk, they slang, how they their music, whatever. Like, man, how can we actively, for those of them, like make ourselves accessible to disciple them and to pour in?
Tell the truth. Be transparent. You know, some people, from my experience, don't just want you just telling them what they should do. Like, tell them what you did. You know, how did you overcome something? How did you get back up? Those type of things. Be transparent about your own struggles. Be honest about your for when you struggled, how did you get back up? You know, and like I said, authenticity. Man, that's a great question, but I just say tell the truth.
What up, though, family? Welcome to Dig In with Dr. Los, and we are digging into discipleship here in season 2. We've already had a number of conversations, and I'm excited to continue these conversations about discipleship as I've been preaching in this first half of the year about what it means to follow Jesus, to be an apprentice of his. Man, I wanted to have conversations with some brothers and some sisters who can add some color to this idea. Now, some of y'all are like, man, what is discipleship? What does that mean? I don't be in the barbershop with the homies like, yeah, I'm kicking it with the disciples. So stay tuned. We're going to define that. We're going to talk more about it, man. But today I have someone who is a brother of mine. He works side by side in ministry with me here at Refresh Community Church. He is a discipler, a teacher of the next generation. He pours in adamantly and eagerly to young men and young women as they seek to follow Jesus. He's also a local CHH artist. You probably already know this dude. You probably already got him in your Spotify playlist. But I'm talking about none other than the youth director of Refresh Community Church and your favorite CHH artist, Brother Mark Gullet. What's happening, Brother Mark?
Man, what's up? It's a pleasure being here, man.
Hey, man, I'm glad you're here. Man. I also appreciate that your braids are so crispy on this warm April afternoon. Like,
man, fresh out of a appointment, fresh out the chair. I had to be here on time. So, hey, look, we fresh out here.
Hey, man, I appreciate it, man. Y'all, he had for the last week, he's been known not as Mark Gullet or, on staff, he's been known as, I've renamed him, Busy Bone. So he had the hair flowing out here. Every time I see him, I'm like, boom, 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 boom. I'm going to miss everybody. Like,
he definitely has.
But no, man.
Every single time.
Yeah, every time. That's because he, the young cats, they don't remember Busy Bone, man. They don't know that he was would you say he was the best member of Bone, or would you
Busy
say
Bone?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah,
I would say that.
I would say it's a tough. I mean, all the guys like got down, but Busy, he was unique.
Yeah,
like you just could his. I mean, they were all unique, but his flow was just
Oh yeah.
So
I can't name a whole lot. Because it's just been a while. But,
it's been a while.
I remember, he definitely was one of them ones.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah. Last time I seen Busy, man, was during the Verses, during COVID. Y'all remember the Verses? He did the Verses with 3 6 Mafia. He threw the bottle with Juicy J. But anyway, we ain't going to talk about that today. We're talking about discipleship.
Yes. Let's talk about discipleship.
Yeah. But no, man. So, so you obviously, you are a youth director here. So you work with our high school students, our middle school students, and you help them to grow in their faith, to navigate just the pressures of this world, what it means. A lot of people can kind of write off as we get older, them high school years or the middle school years as, we get so far away from, we get worried about the concerns of adult life that, man, we can sometimes forget how real and impactful those years are and how formative they are for all of us. And so you help our students here at Refresh navigate that. Yes. So as we talk about and we think about discipleship, this $20 word, man, you, for a living, you literally have to break down concepts that can be lofty or biblical and just in this Christian language that isn't always clear. So, man, can you break down for us today, man, what is discipleship? Like, what does that mean, especially when you're talking about, high schoolers and the next generation? What does that mean? What does that word even mean? What is this?
Okay. Let's see. What comes to mind when I think of discipleship, I think of student. A student that's on a journey of learning, teaching. I think of mentorship. I think of doing life, being present. Because that's one thing I know. As I remember me being a teenager, even, like as an adult, like you said, we get so busy because of life. But a lot of people don't remember that in those early years, they have their own set of problems. You know what I'm saying? So they be like, their life be lifing too, right? So just bringing, the context of their life to what it looks like to be a disciple in Christ, like just bringing clarity to who God is. Again, like I said, I always make it known that I'm big brother. I don't make it like I'm just some leader that's, that you can't talk to or just trying to get information from you. Like, no, I want to be there with you. I want to walk with you. Because I remember when I was a teenager around that time, I just wanted somebody to walk with me. And that's my duty, basically. And being that safe person, being the open ear to those who, maybe going through things and, bringing the wisdom, or knowledge of God or whatever the case. It's very situational. But, that's what I think about discipleship, just being on a journey of learning, teaching.
Yeah, I like that, man. I like what you said. Like, I present myself as big brother, and I'm just like, I'm on this path with you. And you use the word like being on a journey. And, I like that because, man, when you think about being, when we were in high school or, as a young person, man, you're at the beginning that started that journey. And, I even think about I started thinking about like track, like, and, how you get out the blocks matter, and on a level, like what you're helping them with is like coming out the blocks on that journey of following Jesus well.
Exactly.
And, I like that. And you also talked about, life on life, like that, yes, there's a student relationship, there's content, but there's an organic nature to it, in terms of, were you going to say something?
I was just going to say, I am on a pursuit to let them know that they can trust me, because one thing I have learned also with, different, teens and, different contexts of life, and that they are looking for people that understand them. They look for people that they want to trust, that a lot of times lead them in the right way. There are times where some people go the wrong way for sure, but I just want to be one of those guys that lead them the right way, and I want them to trust me and trust that the Lord is like speaking to them, or showing them that these are some of the keys, and these are, things that you will need in life, outside of, things you may learn in school, or whatever, but biblical principles, learning the character of God. How do I walk in that? Those type of things is also part of the journey, especially as a young believer or a questioning, questioning their beliefs, So I just want to be available again to bring clarity to who God is.
Man, you used the word trust several times. And in a discipleship relate, like when you're working with kids and you're working with really anybody, like you can't go further than your level of trust, whether that's a relationship with a student or an employer relationship. Yes. Like, relationships all turn on trust. Can you say more about, like, if I'm a person who is, maybe say I'm working with students or seeking to disciple and mentor students who in a church or even in the community or in an organization, how do I go about building that trust?
Excuse me. I would say people are drawn to authenticity. People are drawn to, not just talking that talk, but actually seeing you walk that walk. So that's what I strive to do. Like, nobody's perfect, obviously, and I show them that. I show them like in my life that, you know, I don't have it all together, but I know how to get back up. So let me show you how to do that, you know, especially when you may be going through something. So, I think people are drawn to authenticity. As a matter of fact, I think that's one of the biggest apologetics is authenticity.
Yeah, man. Authenticity is real, especially, you know, in a day I think about, you know, is interesting because I feel like on one hand, like students and just the world, like we're bombarded with, you know, things that are inauthentic. Like, I mean, nowadays, you know, with AI, you don't even know if what you're looking at on your phone is real. Like, you're like, wait a minute, did this
be tearing people up?
Yeah,
like, did y'all see that?
Yeah,
you're like, that's not real.
That's
like,
not real. Like,
look real.
yeah,
like look at their legs. You know, look at the person in the back.
They got 13 fingers.
Exactly. Like, come on, y'all, we gotta do better.
Yeah, like, man, hey, that's real. Hey, that's real, bro. Like, I, you know, when you think about it, I feel like it did. You know, the filters, like the filters.
Oh, yeah.
Do you see the one recently went viral where the lady, like her filter kept moving and like she looked so massively different. Like it was pretty crazy. You know, but on one hand, we're bombarded with things that are inauthentic. Yeah. And at the same time, you know, just like I know, so like you're a youth pastor, I used to be a youth pastor. I was a teacher. I've worked with kids my whole life. While on one hand, we're bombarded with inauthentic imagery and things like that, I feel like students and teenagers can sniff out inauthenticness a mile away at the same time. Like if you're an adult and you coming in, like, you know, I'm 40 years old. If I come in, you know what I mean? I don't know how kids dress. I don't know. Like, but if I try to do it, like they're gonna be like, please, like, Pastor Lowe's, please.
Come on.
Like you know,
those jeans are too skinny. No.
Yeah. Like they can sniff out like something that's or someone who is inauthentic a mile away.
They can.
Yeah. And so I guess my question, like in building that authenticity, with families. How do you build, you know, on one hand, you got to build relationships with the teenagers and the students and things like that. Man, how do you bridge that gap with the parents and their families? Like, because
good question.
Yeah, because you need trust from the students that you're discipling, that you're seeking to pour into, that you're mentoring and things like that. But you also need to have a relationship and rapport with their parents. How do you navigate those two dynamics?
Well, number one, when it comes to teens, you know, and being a youth worker, you want to be careful with just like a lot of one-on-one. So making sure the parents know who you are, so that they can have a level of trust as well. I think is very important. Because, like for me, I have 2 daughters. I have 2 young ones, and I just don't want any old teacher, you know, teaching them. I want to get to know the teacher. I want to get to know like their background, whatever the case, you know, just to see if I even have a level of trust with those, with them for my kids. So I also myself, I like to engage with parents. I like to keep them updated. I like to, of course, I don't let them know everything that goes on as far as, you know, like maybe in confident conversation, but unless it's an emergency, that's different, right? But, you know, if it's like a heart-to-heart with a student that has been entrusted, that I've been entrusted to, of course, we keep those things confident. But I want a level of trust also for the parent to know that they are in good hands.
Absolutely.
Like, that, you know, that I am not going to just be sitting up here just feeding them whatever they, you know, whatever. No, there's no agendas that's, you know, ill-willed, all of that type of thing, to give them some assurance that they are learning and growing, that, you know, that they should be, you know, in the way that they should be. So yeah, I like to engage with the parents for sure. And
yeah. You know, when I was a youth pastor, I would often tell the parents, I just told, like, cause I had, so where I was youth pastor at, sometimes, not all the parents, but some parents are like kind of helicopter parents. Like they want to know everything I'm saying. Right. Like if they kid come talk to them, what they tell me, blah, blah. And I told them, I say, listen, I'm only going to tell you about 2 things: homicide and suicide. That's it.
Right. Emergencies.
If they talk about killing themselves or others,
I got to tell somebody.
Yeah. I'm mandated report. But if they're, you know, obviously like severe cases of abuse and neglect, things like that, like there's some mandated reporter stuff going on. But I'm like, man, outside of that, like my lips are sealed, man. I've had Oh man, I can go down a list. I knew so much, and I just told them and I had to explain to parents. Like I would have quarterly meetings with the parents, and I called them parent equipping sessions, and no students were allowed, and the students hated them because I'm a techie, so I would spend time with all the latest technology, and I would tell their parents about their hidden apps, and I mean, they hated it. But I would also I would spend time with the parents to build that relationship because I would be trying to tell them, I'm like, hey yo, if I tell y'all what your son or daughter is telling me, then they won't tell me.
That's the thing.
You know, and
that's that level of trust we talking about.
Absolutely.
I don't want to, if it's something in confidence, I don't want to just go ahead and, okay, I'm going to tell your mama. You know what I mean? They're not going to tell me nothing ever again.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm like, you just got to trust that I'm giving them godly counsel.
Absolutely.
Just, and just know, man, but I done had everything. Kids confessing all kind of things. And
100%.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff I'm going to die with. Like, I see some of them kids now, they be like, hey, thank you for never telling my dad. My dad still don't know. I'm like, and I never will.
Exactly.
In fact, I've forgotten. No, some stuff you ain't gonna forget. But man, I'm curious. Like when we start talking about the next generation, do you feel? And I'm real curious about this because sometimes us as the older leaders and mentors and pastors and all the stuff. Sometimes I feel like we can be like the old dudes, like you kids get on my lawn, Man, do you actually think when we look at the generation that's coming up, I think this is now Gen Z and Gen Alpha, is that who they are?
I think Gen Alpha's now.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I think my kids 5 and under, Gen Alpha.
They're Gen Alpha? Okay. So I got a 13-year-old and a couple 11-year-olds at the crib. So I think they're still Gen Z, yes?
I got to look at that timeline.
Yeah.
It changes.
The point is, I don't understand them. They just live in my house. So I'm curious, do you think that the teenagers and the next generation, do you think they're open to being mentored and discipled by the older next generation? Are they desirous of that, or do you sense there's a resistance, or do you think, what do you think about that? Do you think they're like, hey, we're open to that, or do you think there's a resistance from the younger generation, or are they like, hey, we want to be mentored, we want to be poured into, or what do you think the dynamic is there between those generations?
Man, that's a good question. I think when it comes to mentorship with the older generation, it might depend. I know that if we were to put an older person versus their peers, they probably choose their peers, But I don't know, man. I think when it comes to discipleship or mentorship or something like that, I feel like for me, it's I'm pursuing them, so that they know they may need a big brother. You know what I mean? I don't want to assume or anything like that. It may start with a conversation, or just to see where they're at in life. But they may be open to it if you present yourself like I say, big bro. I'm very loose with it. Hey, what's up, little bro? And, just talking and just having that conversation and then seeing where they're at, meeting them where they are, and showing love to them. And then they keep coming back, So I guess you present yourself in a way that is, that makes yourself open to that kind of mentorship. Because like I said, if they're not pursuing it themselves, they probably would choose peers. They would probably choose whatever is presented to them. And so why wouldn't we present ourselves as safe people?
Yeah, no, that's dope. So I hear you saying they're probably gonna choose to be their friends. That's how I tell you. But
that's how gangs are formed.
Yeah, and that's how we get Crips.
That's how we get gangs.
But that's hilarious. But no, what you're saying is we as the generation who want to, invite the younger generation, we need to, you literally say present ourselves as an option, open ourselves with authenticity, but we got to do some pursuing. We can't just sit around and wait for the 16-year-old to,
they're not gonna come.
Can you disciple me?
They're not gonna do that. I mean, there are we're in a mental health woke era where mental health awareness is very popular. So they may seek like out a therapist or something like that, or somebody even, maybe they won't even do that themselves. Maybe somebody would let them know like you may need some help or whatever the case. So like I said, meet them where they are, see where the need is, and then present yourself like that. Don't force anything. Let it be organic. And that's how a lot of my relationships are formed, no matter who it is, but especially as a person that cares about the youth, cares about teens, and what they go through and stuff like that. And me presenting myself as big bro, like I just make myself available, and I make myself known that this is something that we can walk through with situational, and some people don't realize it until they need somebody to walk with them until it's happening. Worst thing can happen is they don't need you no more. But let's see how far it goes. Let's grow.
No, that's good. That's good, man. Man, so we talking about you said you big bro, and you're pursuing these relationships.
Big brother Gully.
Yeah, big brother Gully. But you ain't 85 out here. You ain't old. You ain't what's the, I forget the hierarchy. What is it? OG, big bro. Is that the hierarchy, or is that how it is?
I didn't even know there was like a set hierarchy.
Oh yeah, I saw a whole thing about it. Like it was like it was like it broke down the ages. I think it was like from starting at age 35. Like 35, you become Unc. I think it was like 45 or 50, you OG.
I think I did see something about Unc.
Yeah.
But Unc, I feel like Unc is getting like younger and younger.
Yeah, it's
like
terrifying.
It was somebody like 23 and they're like, "What up, Unc?" I'm like, "What? 23? When we start going backwards?" Like
I'll never forget the first time I had OG, man. It
OG.
Like, hey, bro, it broke my heart. G, I was in McDonald's, man, and I had just looked out for I didn't think he was that much younger than me. Right. I thought we were peers, and he like, yeah, man, good looking OG. And I was like, what you call me?
You call me? Hold on.
I'm OG. Like, I feel like I gotta have an old Cadillac with some pinky rings to be OG. I'm like, maybe I'm Unc. Like,
I am not ready to be Unc.
Not yet.
Man, I'll be on a basketball court because I'm not as tall or whatever. And I do have my
you sitting down, they can't really
my youthful.
You can tell me you're 6'6" right now.
6'7". but in reality it's like 5'7".
Yeah,
but I also have I feel like I am still youthful.
Yeah, of course.
And I got the fountain of youth. It's just one of those things in my family. Some of them still look young, right? I'll be playing basketball with some random teens, and they'll be like, it's crazy because instead of Unc and stuff like that, they'll be like, "Hey, can you pass the ball, little bro?" I'm like, "What? Do you know I'm old enough to be probably your daddy? I don't know, but
I'm not your little bro.
I am not a little bro." Like, come on, y'all.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah, they like 18, 19. Just because you 6 feet plus don't mean I'm younger. Like, where did that concept come from? Like,
hey, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm curious. So, like, to the point that, again, you're not quite 18, 19, but you ain't 55.
Yeah.
You're in the middle there somewhere.
Yeah.
Man, can you tell me about a time, because you're not that far removed from, being poured into and being mentored and apprenticing under older men yourself. So can you share with me a time when you have been mentored, been discipled, done life with someone who was, maybe even if they were not like massively older than you, but when you in that context really was little bro in the right, context. Like, can you share more about that, an experience that you've had that was formative for you and a discipleship experience that really shaped you?
Yeah.
Like back maybe when you were a teen or a young adult?
Yeah, for sure. Man, I looked up to some figures in my family. My uncle, Uncle Odie. He was just one of those examples that I had that, I just admired, not from afar because, I was always over there, but I never told him, that I admired him in the way I did. And then, just come to think of it, he was just acting like his dad, which is my grandfather. And he's one of the biggest influences in my life today as well. So just seeing how they operated, whether it be marriage, whether it be, just daily life, how they responded to different things. Like, I feel like I was a teen that dealt with certain anger. You know, I felt like I was, you know, rejected. I didn't handle those things well as a teen, and I would just fall back on the influences that I did have. And, you know, as I got older, I felt like that's when I started being a little bit more transparent. And I started like talking about those things that I like struggled with. And it, of course, you know, you get words of wisdom here and there, but one of the biggest things that really influenced me was just how they walked. That was it. Like, it wasn't a whole lot of words. It was, I already seen how you guys handle these situations. I strive to be like that. You know what I mean? And contrary to what I'm used to. So, you know, so speaking of Unc, it was really my uncle. You know, and then I would say, you know, when I got older, I would say early 20s, when I started like really trying to get my relationship with God, like for real this time, because I felt like I was going through the motions over time. I did hang around the wrong crowd at one point, you know, to feel some validation, acceptance, and things like that. I think it's not affiliated, but associated, you know what I mean? But you still like part of that wrong crowd. When I was like, when I knew that lifestyle wasn't for me, and I knew that I felt like God was calling me, and I know I'm not trying to be all deep and, you know, spiritual, but I really did know that God wasn't calling me to, you know, follow these crowds. He was calling me to be different. He was calling me to be separate from what I was, the context I was in at the time. And because I had that kind of veil over my eyes, you know, awakening of like, I need to get my life together. You know, I done had a couple near-death experiences and stuff like that. I'm not one of these guys for real. Like, you know, even though I had like a rebellious phase, I don't need to be in this environment. So, the Lord called me somewhere else, right? So when he did, I just knew like I couldn't do it by myself. I couldn't do it by myself. One thing that rings in my head, I don't know who said this, but and this is how I say it. You know, we were never meant to live on an island. You know, we were meant for a community. You know, this Christian walk, which was hard in the beginning when I was really pursuing it. It was really tough, but community, I would say, saved my life. And in that, I found people that would pour into me and edify me and build me up. And prior to that, I felt like I didn't have that. So I think just, you know, late teens, early 20s is when I realized that I needed somebody to look up to. You know, contrary to what I was looking up to at one point in my life, just out of pain and hurt and struggle and just responding to that, you know, and with a crowd, it was almost like trauma bonding. You know what I mean? Oh
yeah, absolutely.
And with that trauma bonding, I just knew that this was not healthy. I had to get up out of that. So I don't know. It's crazy because one of the things that really brought me to him, to the Lord, was Christian rap. Like listening to like Flame, KB, those guys. I finally heard the gospel in a way that I could understand. So that's why I use it today as a witnessing tool. And I did that because I was a teen. I do that, you know, for the teens today. You know, meet them where they are with the music they listen to, and put those messages and stuff like that. So I just had a whole period of where I was just looking up to people, and I was just like pursuing this. I was like, yeah. So, you know, and it's the thing about it is you never arrive to like level 100. You know what I mean? Like you always, it's a continuous journey of looking up to people. You know what I mean? And I consider myself a student to this day.
No, that's dope. That's dope, man. You know, you kind of and several like kind of trails that I want to take, man. But it's funny going back to your uncle. You say Uncle Odie? Yeah.
Uncle Odie.
It's so funny. I think about one of the first people to disciple me even though he wasn't a Christian, is my Uncle Ronald. Shout out to Uncle Ronald. I call him old school, like, man, coolest dude on the planet, man. Love my Uncle Ronald, man. That was my mom's youngest brother, man. But he wasn't necessarily a believer, but man, he would drop wisdom, man.
Yeah.
And he would sit down with me, and he'd be like, Carlos, man, I'm telling you, if you listen to me, I'm going to shave 10 to 20 years of nonsense. I'm going to say nonsense for the podcast because this is Dig In with Dr. Lewis off your life. But my uncle, he took an interest in me, man. And to this day, like, we sit and kick it, and he would just say, hey, man, like, here's some wisdom how to navigate the life that you live in, the world that you're living in. Man, something that you said, and I want to put a pin in because I want to come back to this, CHH and discipleship.
Oh,
that's actually a question that I have for you. Like, I want to, you already talked about, how you were discipled in a lot of ways, like through CHH and how, guys like Flame and KB and, these
changed
incredible,
my life.
Change your life, man. I remember even hearing KB talk about like the reason why he put so much gospel in his music. He was like, I listened to a Christian hip hop CD and got saved. Like
the person he listened to is actually from St. Louis.
Really?
His name was Minister.
Really? That's crazy.
Yeah.
St. Louis got such a deep, like the history of CHH, like the roots of CHH, like in St. Louis is insane, bro.
It is
insane. But I want to come back to that. So I'm kind of put that over here. I want to come over here for a minute, real quick, and talk about, you mentioned like how when you were a young man, how you were, how you had like, you talked about anger and things like this. And man, we know nowadays, like a lot of our young people deal with mental health issues. Yeah. Man, I had students that used to cut that had suicide attempts. I mean, we've all heard tragedies. I'll never forget, students here in St. Louis that, took their own life. And I was adjacent to it. Thankfully, it wasn't any of my own students who actually followed through, but, they were friends of theirs. And so, going to those types of funerals. So I'm curious, man, how do you deal with when you're, you talked about some of your own challenges and ups and downs as a teenager. How, when students are coming to you now as big bro, and they're dealing with anger issues. Home life ain't what it's supposed to be. Maybe they're depressed. Maybe, they got anxiety. Maybe they're cutting, all these things. How do you disciple them when you're encountering and dealing with students that got those type of serious mental health challenges that they're trying to figure out? Yeah.
One thing I lacked, which I like to provide because I genuinely care, is showing them I genuinely care. I like to hear them out. I like to be that listening ear. I don't like to just simply give solution because I used to deal with some of the same things that they dealt with. So being a listening ear and hearing them out, and it goes a long way. We was talking about trust, right? And there will be times where, after a while, as I'm walking with them, just letting them know that they are loved, not only by me, but of course by Christ. And for me, it's a segue to show that even when they feel lonely, even when they feel like they don't have a friend for them, not only do you have Big Brother Mark, Big Brother Gullet, but you do have a friend in Jesus. So those are segues for the gospel to let them know that he's not looking for perfection. He is looking for you to give him these struggles, give him your pain. I wish I knew this early on myself. So that's my pursuit. That's part of my pursuit of, again, just showing them who Christ is in these moments. And, not leaving them there. Let's continue to walk this out. Let me meet with you. There's I'm not gonna say a name obviously, but there was a guy who legit wanted to harm himself. And I just pulled up on him. Like I had to. I couldn't, like, what are you gonna do? He called me. So the fact that he could trust me, with this information, to me it was almost like he wanted me there, even if it wasn't directly to me. If I heard it, I would have still pulled up. But the point is, man, mental health is such a broad spectrum of different things, and knowing that somebody cares, and knowing that somebody is willing to help take the burden for whatever you're dealing with, I feel like brings a little bit of lightness to it, you know? So I've wept with people. I've, you know, prayed with people, you know, and just made myself available. You know, I might say some of the same terms, but this is just like what it is. I just made myself available, and, you know, it's nothing to put something on the calendar and just keep, you know, checking in. Checking in went a long way for me. You know, just checking in. Like, I could be really going through something, and then somebody check in. I'm like, man, how'd you know? You know what I'm saying? Like, you ever had that? Like,
oh yeah,
how'd you know? I was like, Lord looking out. You know, whatever. But I'm that guy.
Yeah,
you know,
man. It's, you know, what I'm hearing from you is like, it's like being present. Like a lot of, because I mean, let's just be honest. When a person is stuck in depression, stuck definitely in a space where they, like, you know, consider self-harm and, you know, despondency and just the doldrums of life. Rarely is there just like, you know, Brad, I've told people, like, because I've had, you know, obviously as a pastor, people reach out to me like, you know, Pastor Lowe's, Dr. Lowe's, like, you know, I'm going through da-da-da-da. And they want me to say something to fix it. And, you know, early in ministry, I think I was actually tempted to try it. Right. Like, you know, if I can just come up with the right turn of phrase formula, or the right scripture, and I can just say it right, and it'll fix. And I figured out really, really quickly that don't work. It's like what I can do though. Like, a lot of times I tell people, man, people come to my office regularly, and anybody who's sat there know, like, I'll sit and I'll listen, and then I'm like, okay, let's pray and ask the Lord for wisdom. Exactly. And sometimes when a person is in a really dark space, it's just like, I'm just gonna sit here and be with you. Yeah. And, you know, I'm not gonna tell you, even though I do believe, all things work together for good for those who love God and those who are called to His. Man, that's the worst thing you can say to a person. Like, the last thing
some people want is like you throw a scripture at them.
Yeah,
because what does that mean to me in this moment?
Yeah, in this moment, like if I felt like if I felt like God was working out for, I wouldn't have called you or whatever. Like, I wouldn't be here if I was walking and whatever. Man, so I mean, what you said about just showing up, being present, and sitting with people and being available, like. Yeah. Man, and that takes space in our calendar. That takes, you know, taking our phone off D&D. That takes, you know, creating some margin and living with some margin so that we can do that. Yeah, intentionality. And bro, then you talked about, like, you know, checking in. Man, I will never forget. Man, this was a couple of years ago, man. Like, I was just not in a good space, man. It was funny because externally, everything was going good. Church going good, life going good. Just finished a PhD. Bro, I was just not feeling it. Like, I wasn't like suicidal or nothing, but I was just sad, bro. I was down. I've been there. Man, and I remember I was sitting, I'll never forget, bro. I was in a parking lot at Schnucks. Like, I was supposed to I was supposed to do like a milk and bread run type deal. Like, it was nothing, bro. And I remember just, I don't know what, like a heaviness fell on me because I was just going through this dark season, man. And I'm confident, you know, now looking back, I'm like, man, that was so much spiritual attack, you know, like that was like spiritual warfare. Yeah. But bro, I was just down and I was just sitting, bro. And I was sitting in a parking lot at Schnucks crying on my steering wheel. I'm talking ugly crying, like just bawling, just. And I mean, crying out to the Lord, but not even in no deep spiritual, like I'm crying. No, it was just like, I'm crying. Yeah. Like, gee, I don't even.
Like grieving.
I'm grieving over all this stuff. And I'm just sitting in a parking lot in Schnucks. And this is like my neighborhood Schnucks. I know everybody at work here, like everybody know me at this Schnucks. So people could have seen me and recorded this nonsense. You know what I mean? Yeah. And, you know, I was sitting there, man, and I'm crying at Schnucks. And man, then my phone rang. And it was my bro, Charlton.
Come on.
And Charlton, he's like, hey, bro. I was sitting here in prayer and the Lord just told me to call you. Like, when I say there was no way, I'm talking, it was a random Saturday morning, nothing going on. He just hits me up like, hey man, the Lord told me to call you. And so I'm like, dog, he was like, bro, what you up to? Lord just laid on my heart to call you. What you up to? Like, bro, I'm sitting in a parking lot in Schnucks crying. He was like, what? He ain't always, he like, why are you doing that?
Wait, what?
Because I'm sad.
I have no context. Like, why are you crying?
Why are you crying? But man, and I said,
how'd that make you feel?
Oh, like, bro, it made me feel like two things. The Lord saw me, because there's no way he could have just known, and my brother saw me.
Yes.
And he sat there on the phone with me for hours, man, and just encouraged me. And, and it just showed me like, man, and it was like, to your point, like that check-in, like, God sees me and my brother sees me. And man, he didn't try to just fix it Charles, he got half the Bible memorized. He didn't just try to throw no cute scriptures at me. Man, he just
solutions.
It was just like he was there. And I think like our youth, our teenagers and grown folks, like, I think people think it's so different sometimes. It's like, no, it's man, we need what we need, and we need people who are willing to create margin.
That's right.
And who can step into our space with us. So check it out, man. This is Dig In with Dr. Los. And, me and Bernie, we done already dug into discipleship. Me and Mark then dug into discipleship. But now we're digging into some good food. As y'all know, the Dig In with Dr. Los is not just about theology, but it's about cuisine and culture. And so, man, we got some cuisine this is one of my absolute favorite restaurants in St. Louis. Catholic Mediterranean Restaurant is located in North County in Hazelwood, right on Lindbergh. And actually, they just opened a location over in O'Fallon as well. But the restaurant is owned by my brother, Wassam Hamed. What's happening? Wassam, man, he is a restaurateur from Jerusalem, and he is a wonderful brother. He's catered food for me here at the church, and we have a wonderful, wonderful friendship. I have eaten at his restaurant at least weekly for most of the time that he's been, since he's opened Catholic in North County. So I got some of my homies with me. Y'all already know. We got Bernie, who is just been dropping knowledge. We got Mark Gullet, our youth director, who's been dropping wisdom on discipleship. But I want y'all to just try these sandwiches. Okay, y'all know what that's not what they're called.
His is halfway eaten, so I think
I done already got a head start. This is fire.
Hey, look, I'm telling you what's funny. I don't have one because I ate it already.
Oh, wow.
But what we have here is we got some hummus, which is traditionally made. Wassam has some incredible. His recipe is bar none the best in the city. It's got some fresh chickpeas and jalapeno there, and then we got chicken shawarma, which is a roasted chicken. And Wassam on his chicken shawarma, he puts all kind of vegetables and fruit, and it just slow cooks around the spit there, and it just all compliments. So while y'all dig into y'all sandwich, I'm gonna dig into some of this hummus. So yeah, tell me what y'all think, man. Tell me what y'all think. I mean, y'all already did it, so y'all can just talk if y'all want to. But go ahead, get down. And then we got Sabrina eating in the corner off camera. She getting down too, but that's my co-host, y'all. She over there. Words, you wanna you get a sandwich?
No, I'm good.
You sure? We got some of them fries. Like, Wassam batter his fries or something, make them extra crispy. Bernie, what you think? What mean? Give me some descriptors. Give me some of the notes you picking up on.
First of all, chicken.
First of all, this is chicken.
I can identify the chicken. That's a plus. Let's see. I'm a fan of what's that? I love sandwiches with onions in it. I don't know, there's just something about it, especially if it's red onion. I know you got a problem with it being red onions because it's basically purple.
It's purple, man.
Right.
It's purple. Why don't we go on purple onions?
Yeah, but I'm the type that's like extra red onions.
Extra?
But I gotta make sure I got mints in my pockets.
Okay, I'm about to say, how is Leah doing? Okay.
I'm considerate.
Say how's Leah doing?
But I like the blends of, I think that's cucumber, tomato. As a matter of fact, I think that's is that tomato or like a pickle?
Yeah. So he got some pickled onions on there, and some. He does a lot of pickles and beets and pickled vegetables. It has tahini sauce, so ground up sesame seed in there. Yeah.
That's a good sandwich.
Yeah. I think Wassam got the best
really
shawarma in the city, hands down. Like however the brother marinates the chickens, he gets down. So shout out. Listen, I want to encourage y'all, man. A big part of this is showing love to local St. Louis eateries. And I want to encourage y'all, check out Catholic, man. Wassam is my brother, man. He's a great guy, does a lot in the community. Let's go and support, show some love, and get some of the best Mediterranean food you're going to get in St. Louis. So yeah, go and holler at my boy. Go on over to Catholic, show some love. Peace. So yeah, man. So I want to circle back real quick to the CHH and discipleship, man, real quick. Man, tell me, about your work as an artist. You talked about using that as a tool. You talked about the impact of Christian hip hop on you personally and how you try to extend that to others, man. So tell me how, just tell me more about like how CHH plays into your experience with discipleship and how you disciple the next generation.
Man, that's a good question. One thing I love is the arts. I just love the arts, just period, not just music. I just love just the arts in general, right? Whether it be film, whether it be, it could be sculpting, it could be painting. I like viewing those things. But one of my favorites is writing, spoken word. Oh man. I love that you asked this because, and I love that I just said spoken word because I actually started off doing spoken word. Okay. And when I was doing spoken word, I was always a poet. I feel like the earliest poem that I wrote that I could remember was like when I was 9 years old about baseball. I can't remember what it was, but I do remember writing those things and rhyming and stuff like that. So when I got into spoken word, at first, it was, just random, just what I was going through in the moment. It could have been about a particular person. I started writing love poems, just, I don't know. Just the love for writing has always been a thing for me, and lyrics and lyricism and stuff like that. When I first heard Jackie Hill Perry.
Bro, Jackie's.
Man,
Jackie's pen is crazy, bro.
I'm talking like back in 2012. This had to been like 2012 back when it was like P4CM. The big conferences. Oh yeah. That's where Preston Perry, he did his thing. It was other people, Ezekiel. Anyway, when I first heard her, blew my mind. I was like, I didn't even know Christian like poetry hit like this. This is crazy. This is insane. So I started like switching up how I started writing things because I started getting an understanding and just the level of just the level of understanding I had, I would write about it, And then KB came out with his first album under Reach Records called Weight and Glory. Goodness,
I still be bumming.
When I heard that,
still,
I was
to
like,
this day. To this day.
Right. Like, look, when I heard that, when I say, I'm like, so this is the gospel? Because when I first heard the gospel, it was like, the death, burial, and resurrection. That's a definition for sure. But like, what does it mean to me? Like, so when I heard just repeat back and forth, just the content, the lyricism, the art, I fell in love. Like just with the art form. And because I'm already a poet, it was just easy. I had friends, I started making beats. I started making beats. I had friends that made beats, and the friends that I had, we had a group, and I don't even want to say it, but
well, no, you gotta say it. Now you gotta say it.
We had a group, and it wasn't my idea. No, it was in the secular realm. But,
okay.
But I was trying to break away from those things at the time, right?
You ain't gonna tell us that? Well, go ahead and tell us.
It was called Codeine Music. Goodness. Oh man, codeine.
It's so direct.
I know, like
promethazine records,
right? Weed words. Like what?
Like these words will get you high.
It's funny now, but at the time, like that was just the closest I had. The closest I had to like the programs that they had. So I would go to the studio all the time with that particular group, and I learned how to make beats. And then I started producing myself. But here's the thing, I was producing myself using the programs that they offered, but I was making music about my newfound like faith.
I got you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So obviously I had to break up, eventually after I got the skill of making beats and stuff like that. But
so that's the Bible. Yeah. The Bible says the wealth of the wicked is laid up with righteous. So you went to Cody Records, learn how to make beats for Jesus, man.
Exactly. That's exactly how that went.
Like Robin Hood, man.
Yeah.
Robin Hood.
Yeah, right. So so with that, I started making beats for myself. I started finding other people that actually did it, and we had different things in common. So we would like form different groups, but for the Lord this time. You know what I mean? Or positive or inspirational. Mm-hmm. Like it didn't necessarily have to be like seminary rap or like biblical, you know what I'm saying? Like, like Philippians 3 says, whatever. Like it wasn't necessarily that. It was just like, how we doing? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I made a song when I started like really getting into it called "Kill Your Flesh." That was like my first song. It's on SoundCloud today. Uh-huh. It's called "Kill Your Flesh." Stream "Kill Your Flesh" by Mark. Gully Mark. Gully Mark.
Stream "Kill Your Flesh" by Gully Mark. Gully Mark.
It's on SoundCloud.
SoundCloud. So yeah, go ahead and stream that. Kill Your Flesh. Crucify the flesh.
Yeah. And that was one of the things. And I based it out of Galatians 5. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the first times I realized that I could really do this. Mm-hmm. That I'm articulating scripture, and I didn't. Prior to that, I just just going through the motions. Mm-hmm. So so some of the CHH artists at the time really influenced me, and Jackie Hill Perry just articulating like what it's like. The context I came from, they made themselves look perfect. Mm-hmm. And that's why I felt like I was going through identity things, because I'm just like, maybe I'm not saved. Mm-hmm. And I grew up in church. Mm-hmm. So I would put that type of stuff in my music. Like, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to, but as long as we continue to keep getting back up, no,
that's dope, bro.
That type of stuff. So, so even with that, like the Lord has like really made way for me with like music, like shows. And this is not a flex. This is not a
so go ahead,
a brag.
Go ahead.
But
Christians be humble bragging.
But from 2013 to today, I probably did like over 100 appearances of just like local things. I've definitely had national like recognition and stuff like that. But I love that I can serve the community with positive lyrics. That's an alternative to what back when what I was listening to before I was doing it. So I know the youth in these communities, different communities and different environments are listening to one thing I'll say real quick, the radio. The radio, I felt like always had like the same content: sex, drugs, money, women, that crap, right? And it was always the same thing. And I was just like, I want to make alternative music that hit just as hard, that they can digest, that the whole family can actually listen to. And I used to get invited to churches. I got invited to events. I got invited to clubs doing this.
You was doing CHH in the club?
I have before.
Let's go. That's what I'm talking about.
I've done it. Yeah,
man. Listen, I'm loving everything you're sharing about like CHH and how it's led to your, how you've been discipled through it, how you yourself have been affected, how you've affected others. Man, as we wrap up, can you give, can you like give some closing words for, man, if I want to be a discipler, a mentor to this next generation, can you tell us more and just say like, hey man, here are some practical steps you can do you talked about making yourself available, to offering oneself, to be able to make disciples and to mentor the next generation. Can you give us like a practical takeaway or two? Like how can we concretely do that?
How can we concretely be a disciple to others?
Yeah. To disciple others, like, for this next generation. Like I really, and I'm thinking about the people who, may be listening that, there's youth in their church. Yeah. There's, maybe they got nieces, maybe they got nephews, maybe they're just in the community and they're like kids in their school. I really, on a level, like I really am thinking about those of us who are like, maybe, you're a bit younger than me, but, like your age and up, my age. I want us to go past like just complaining about the next generation, how they wear their clothes, how they talk, they slang, how they their music, whatever. Like, man, how can we actively, for those of them, like make ourselves accessible to disciple them and to pour in and to mentor and help them grow and to be the people that God's calling them to be?
Man, that's a great question. I would say you kind of said some of the buzzwords that I would use is like making yourself available, obviously, but tell the truth. Be transparent. You know, some people, from my experience, don't just want you just telling them what they should do. Like, tell them what you did. You know, how did you overcome something? How did you get back up? Those type of things. Be transparent about your own struggles. Now, obviously, don't, you know, air out dirty laundry and all these different things and skeletons in the closet. But I would say be honest about your for when you struggled, how did you get back up? You know, and like I said, authenticity. Man, that's a great question, but I just say tell the truth.
No, that's real, man. Like, you know, I remember a few months ago, Pastor Kyle, he actually preached a sermon like don't sleep on God, and one of his points was don't sleep on your testimony.
Yeah,
and, you know, he was talking about how you know, like, man, back to that authenticity piece. Like, man, the next generation needs to know, like, the truth of the matter is we didn't all on a level went through the same stuff. Like, ain't no point in pretending, you know, but he talked a lot about, you know, not sleeping on your testimony, like using your testimony to the glory of God. Yeah, man. No, that's good stuff. Now, man, you know, now, Gully Mark Gullet, you're very active as a CHRH artist. You're on social media. So can you tell the people how they can get in contact with you if they want to follow you, they want to hear more your music? Can you tell them, give them all your handles, your socials, your newest album, all the stuff? Let us know how we get a hold of you. We want to hear some of that good music, man.
Absolutely. So you can find me at Gully Mark 314. That's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Gully Mark 314. I just came out with an alternative R&B album dedicated to my family. I do Christian rap. I like to switch it up sometimes. I'm very versatile, so definitely check me out, Gully Mark 314, and on all platforms, look up Gully Mark.
Yeah. All right, man. Y'all heard it here, man. I am grateful to you, my brother, for coming to sit and talk with us about the next generation, man. I'm grateful for the work that you're doing here at Refresh. Man, I'm grateful for the way you discipling my son. My son is a 7th grader that just thinks the world of you, man.
That's my dude.
And, yeah, man. And man, I'm just grateful for how you are modeling and living out what you're talking about here. So y'all listen, y'all already heard him. Gully Mark 314 on all platforms. And of course, you know where to find me. This is Dr. Los on Dig In with Dr. Los, man, where we're digging into discipleship during this 2nd season. So, man, thank y'all for connecting with us, and we're going to keep digging in and learning more about discipleship. I'll check y'all out later. Peace.